Policy experience is not the same as foreign policy wisdom. I want everybody at home to note that I was the first person to say we need a reasonable peace deal in Ukraine. Now a lot of the
Hey, what's up, guys? There you have it. The next president of the United States of America, Vivek Ramaswamy. Let's listen to what he's got to say.
Cons are quietly coming along to that position, with the exceptions of Nikki Haley and Joe Biden, who still support this, what I believe is pointless war in Ukraine. And I think those with foreign policy experience, one thing that Joe Biden and Nikki Haley have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops.
Ouch. Ouch.
To actually fight for. Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people have, I mean, she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces are.
Oh, ouch.
She wants to send our sons and daughters and our troops and our military equipment to go fight it. So reject this myth that they've been selling you, that somebody had a cup of coffee stint at the UN and then makes $8 million after, has real foreign policy experience. It takes an outsider to see this through. Look at the blank expression.
Oh my God.
The names of the provinces that she wants to actually fight for.
That is insulting.
The donors right there that are playing like the puppet master.
Hold on. Let me just say something here. You know, his reasonable peace deal in Ukraine, he made it clear. Give them all the land they've already stolen.
Before he finishes the point he's going to make, I am going to say 100% categorically that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to say he did not say that. Listen.
Promise Putin you'll never put Ukraine in Russia, and then trust Putin not to have a relationship with China. Let me tell you something. That's no reasonable.
That's not my deal. That's not my deal.
Yes, it's exactly what you said. You do this at every debate.
That's exactly what he said.
Don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. Okay? You say this. You do this. You do this at every debate. You go out on the stump and you say something. All of us see it on video. We confront you out on the debate stage.
But this brings me neatly to Ukraine.
Yes.
Which was invaded and attacked. It's a sovereign democratic country. It was attacked.
Democratic with an asterisk.
No. Democratic.
With an asterisk.
Well, it had a massive majority voted for democracy.
Well, much of the regions that are occupied haven't been represented in Ukraine's parliament for 9 years.
Right.
So, table stakes discussion there.
But it is, okay, you can call it asterisk democracy. I'll say democracy. But it was attacked and invaded by Russia. And you originally, when you first tweeted about it, you were quite censorious about what Russia had done and pro-Ukraine. Your rhetoric changed.
I wasn't pro-Ukraine, but I found it offensive. I mean, I've said this at every step. Putin is a craven dictator. Okay, Putin is absolutely a craven dictator.
Is he a war criminal?
I don't know. I don't have enough information to suggest he's a war criminal.
You
The ICJ makes that judgment. Again, the U.S. president.
You don't think what he's done in Ukraine constitutes a war crime?
Based on what we've seen, a lot of it looks likely to meet the ICJ's test, but I don't think the U.S. president...
It meets any test, doesn't it?
Well, I think that a lot of people have committed war crimes then, on that basis, right? So you can't just selectively single him out.
Well, illegally invading a sovereign country is a crime, isn't it?
For us to get on the same page, is Putin an evil dictator? Yes, he is. Just because Putin is bad, does that mean Ukraine is good? No, it does not. Okay, this is a country that has banned 11 opposition parties. This is a country that has consolidated all of its media into one state TV media arm. This is a country that celebrated a Nazi in its own ranks in front of the Canadian Parliament, Zelensky did. This is a country that's effectively threatening the U.S. not to hold its elections unless the U.S. forks over more money. And also against the backdrop, Piers, it's worth wondering why that initial incursion to Kyiv went nowhere, but Luhansk and Donetsk were easily captured without counter-resistance. Why? These are Russian-speaking regions. Many residents there don't even view themselves as part of Ukraine. They view themselves as part of Russia. And for the better part of the last decade, almost 10 years, they haven't even been represented in the Ukrainian parliament.
Well, there are large
so we have to measure that against the fact.
You would give Putin what he's taken, right?
I wouldn't give him anything. There's a deal.
What would you give him?
I wouldn't give him anything. I would give him a deal.
What's the deal he's going to take then?
Well, here's the deal. He has to exit his military alliance with Xi Jinping. End the Russia-China military alliance. That's the top threat that the U.S.
What's the deal with Ukraine territory?
And in return, what we get is a hard commitment that NATO will not admit Ukraine to NATO. In truth, that's just keeping.
But what about the land he's taking?
Well, this is the most important part, is the NATO hard, this is what matters most to Putin. There's other parts of this deal I can talk about on both sides. The most important element of each, and then I can go to the second most. The most important element is Russia exit its military alliance with China. We make a hard commitment that NATO not admit Ukraine to NATO, which, by the way, Piers, that violates, we've systematically violated a commitment we made back in 1990. James Baker, the U.S. Secretary of State, made a commitment to Gorbachev.
Tell me on this deal.
And then here we'd freeze the current lines of control.
What?
Freeze the current lines
You
of
would
control.
give Putin
I
everything
wouldn't
he's
give him
stolen?
anything. I would freeze the current lines of control.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
These are Russian-speaking regions that are occupied today.
You would literally give Putin what he's stolen. You
Only-
would give
I'm
a
not-
guy you
I'm
just...
not giving him anything. I'm
you
giving
just
him a deal.
What did you describe him as to
It's
me again?
conditioned.
What did you call Putin?
He's an evil dictator.
You give an
So is
evil
Xi Jinping.
dictator
So are countless others.
land he's stolen by killing people. You would give him the land.
Pierce, I'm not going to give him anything. I'm giving him a deal.
You've just said you'd give him the whole...
I'm not going to give him. That's your word, not mine. I'd give him a deal. What I would
You'd hand
do
it to him.
is, no, we would require Russia to exit its military alliance with China. What threatens the United States of America?
What message are you
the
sending?
Russian-China military
Vivek,
alliance.
You're president of the United States, and you say, all right, Vladimir, I know you invaded illegally a sovereign democratic country, and they fought for
It's
their
not a democratic country.
And they fought
Ukraine is not a democratic country.
And they fought for
Ukraine is not a democratic
I
country.
don't agree with you.
I mean,
I don't agree with
look
you.
at what they're doing to the Ukrainian Orthodox
But let me
Church
finish-
right now.
let me finish this conversation.
It's just a myth.
Let
though.
me finish
But we're
this-
having a mythological conversation.
Well, you don't think it
Ukraine is not a democratic
The
country.
people of Ukraine voted for democracy in massive majority
Except for the
numbers.
ones that didn't vote that happened to be in the regions occupied by Russia.
But you would give this area that they've stolen back to the Russians, right? So you're telling...
I would not.
You're telling
it would be
every...
conditioned.
You're telling every...
I would not do
Hang
anything
on.
other than we get what we want.
You're
in
telling
return.
every evil dictator in the world, you can go and invade any country you like, take whatever land you can in a bloody war for as long as
Here's
you like,
what I find
and then
fascinating.
eventually I'll just give it to you.
How many hours of your show, or minutes, or seconds, have you dedicated to what Azerbaijan has done to Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh on the different region on the other side of Caspian? Zero is probably the answer, just like every other member.
You say you didn't say it, and then you back away. And I want to
I'll
say
tell you
what.
exactly
no,
what I said, Chris.
I'm not done yet.
Well, this
now
is
look.
This is
and here's
nonsense. This man is spewing. This man is spewing nonsense.
Let me tell you something. This is the fourth debate. The fourth debate that you would be voted in the first 20 minutes as the most obnoxious blowhard in America. So shut up for a little while.
I'm gonna respond to that.
I want to
Chris,
say
your
something.
version
We're
of
going to let you respond to that. We're going to let you respond to that.
I'll take
Let him
that.
finish.
I want to say something else. We're now 25 minutes into this debate, and he has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence, not her positions.
That is the
basic
GOP
intelligence.
party of
She doesn't know regions.
nowadays.
She wouldn't be able to find something on a map that his 3-year-old could find. Look, if you want to disagree on issues, that's fine. And Nikki and I disagree on some issues. But I'll tell you this. I've known her for 12 years, which is longer than he's even started to vote in the Republican primary. And while we disagree about some issues and we disagree about who should be president of the United States, what we don't disagree on is this is a smart, accomplished woman, and you should stop insulting
So
her.
I'm going to take this. I'm going to take several times over. So first of all, I think we just learned something from Chris Christie. We learned three things. We learned three things right there. First of all, Chris Christie also doesn't know what provinces in eastern Ukraine he actually wants us to fight for. Chris, your version of foreign policy experience was closing a bridge from New Jersey to New York.
Yeah.
So do everybody a favor, just walk yourself off that stage, enjoy a nice meal, and get the hell out of this
Yeah,
race.
let me tell you.
When it comes
Ouch.
to Nikki, I think if you're going to actually send your sons and daughters to
Ouch.
die in somebody else's
Voting.
war,
Hold on.
While
you
you
better,
weren't
excuse
voting-
me, Chris, I'm speaking, and I'm not done yet.
I haven't
you had
heard
your
a
chance,
time when you aren't
and we're going to be
speaking.
done. So listen up to this: is if these people want
Ron
to send their sons and
DeSantis.
daughters to go die in Ukraine, they've been arguing
doesn't know
for it
what
for
to
a
do.
year. $200 billion of our taxpayer money sent over. Neither of them could even name for you the provinces that they actually want to protect. And this is the people who have been touting their so-called foreign policy experience. It is intellectual fraud. These people are lying to you, the same people who told you about weapons and mass destruction.
He
in Iraq.
talks and
to justify
talks.
that invasion didn't know the first
He
thing
can
about it. Yet they
talk.
sent thousands of our sons and daughters to go die. The same people who told you the same in Afghanistan, where the Taliban is still in charge 20 years later. $7 trillion of our national debt due to these toxic neocons. You can put lipstick on a Dick Cheney, it is still a fascist neocon.
Thank
and
you,
you gotta
Mr.
see that
Ramaswamy.
today.
Thank you,
It's
Mr.
Dick Cheney
Ramaswamy.
all over again in this party.
Thank you.